Well, I couldn't resist myself. I had an opportunity to acquire one of these big old monster Homelite gear drives. So I went after it. I couldn't pass it up. The price was reasonable. Homelite SuperXP1130 automatic gear drive. These guys are, I don't know what they're, 100, 110 cc's? Monsters. These things have, you know, basically it's a stump puller. These things will buck, you know, a tree or, you know, drop trees. This would have been used, you know, these things run up, I think up to a 5-foot bar. And, you know, they just have torque, you know, till the cows come home. Clearly, I will never need this kind of power. This is a collector saw. This is a saw for the shelf, pulling out every now and then, you know, maybe do some cuts. Maybe at some point. I don't know. I had a Super 1050 automatic for a while, and it was really nice, but it just really didn't do much for me. I always, you know, the direct drives are great, but the gear drives are just a little bit more special in my mind. From a collector's perspective, it's got the tag on it. Got to put this big old spike on it. Spike was off it there for shipping. Massive spike, just massive saw. Power head only, so I got to sort out a bar for it. And it's probably a 1/2-inch sprocket on there, if I'm guessing that. I don't have too much for 1/2-inch chain, so I'll have to source a 404 sprocket for it so I can actually run a bar and chain on it. Looks like it's missing the bar plates. That kind of sucks, but they're probably fairly common, I'm assuming. Possibly they're different than, you know, with the Super 1050s and probably a lot of the other ones, the 700 series, the 707s, 770s probably run the same sprocket. But yeah, just a really, you know, a saw that I always like these big old gear drive saws. Just a great opportunity, and, you know, really the kind of saw that you can't really go wrong with. Even say you did decide you didn't really want it anymore, you're going to get your money's back out of something like this. So yeah, really looking forward to going through this and seeing, you know, what makes it tick, because I don't know much about this model of saw, you know, the actual inner workings. It's got a big old HL carb. That looks pretty straightforward. I wasn't sure if these ones had the air vane on them. I seem to recall that some of these models had an air vane, and I've never worked on a Homelite that had one, and I'm not really looking forward to doing that either, so I'm kind of glad to see. I don't think it does, unless it's somewhere else here, but I don't think so. I think the fuel line just... Where the heck does that fuel hose go into the tank? That's interesting. Probably have to take the fuel tank off. That's how you do on a lot of these big square saws. You take the front tank off. Oh, this is different. Yeah, that's not the same that I'm used to. Yeah, so I got some stuff to learn on this one. It's like the top part is the tank by the looks of it here. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, well, you know, some stuff to learn. That's fun. Hopefully she's not going to need much. It doesn't look like it was really abused much, to be honest with you. A lot of times these saws were, you know, they were used as work saws. And they'd be, you know, using something like this for production cutting. You know, and this came from the West Coast, and that's where, you know, these saws were used, was out there in the West Coast with big, massive trees. And they would ride on skidders, and, you know, they were tools. They weren't, you know, like a collector piece like I'm going to have. It's going to have a pretty easy life as long as it sticks around here. That's not the way these things, you know, were sold and acquired. They were sold to work. But this one looks like it didn't have that hard of a life, to be honest. It would be missing a lot more paint if it did. Ugh. like the full wrap still has all the paint on it, so maybe that was added at some point or replaced. I don't know. Still got, you know, the mud flap chip here in all in one piece. There's a bit of paint missing from the base of the saw, but there's no case rot. That's the main thing you want to look for on these things is case rot. The muffler cover looks to be all intact. Those things, if they were used a lot, would have been broken and probably missing. So missing a screw there, but that's no problem. Yeah, so I'd say this is a pretty low hour saw, or, you know, the action I did see wasn't heavy duty. It was used probably for bucking up, you know, big giant stuff, and was treated fairly well by the looks of it. Anyhow, that's the newest saw in the collection. Homelite SuperXP1130 automatic gear drive. Monster. We'll show a video of the saw once I get a bar and chain on and get it cleaned up and, you know, get it running right. Cool. Thanks for checking out the video. Check you later.